Welcome back. I'm Will. Something I've been thinking about a lot recently is how dramatically the idea of a personal brand has changed. A few years ago, when people talked about personal branding, it was mostly associated with influencers, motivational content, lifestyle creators, maybe entrepreneurs posting inspirational quotes or documenting their lives online. But now, it feels completely different. Today, a personal brand is becoming almost like digital leverage. And what's fascinating is that it's no longer optional only for creators or influencers. Now, founders need it, freelancers need it, consultants need it, agency owners need it, even employees increasingly benefit from it. Because trust is shifting, people trust individuals faster than institutions. And I think AI is accelerating this entire shift in a very interesting way. Because now one person can produce content, systems, communication, and educational material at a scale that previously required an entire media team. But at the same time, AI creates another problem. The internet is becoming flooded with generic content. So the real challenge is no longer just creating more, it's building trust and authority in a world where everyone suddenly has access to the same tools. And honestly, I think this is where personal branding becomes much deeper than aesthetics or followers.
Yes, and I think that's one of the biggest misconceptions people still have. They think a personal brand is colors, logos, visual identity, content style. But those are surface-level elements. At its core, a personal brand is really about perception. It's about what people associate with you mentally when your name appears. Do they associate you with expertise, trust, consistency, clarity, transformation, insight? Or do they just see another account posting content? And AI is making this distinction even more important because the volume of content online is increasing exponentially. Which means attention becomes harder, but trust becomes more valuable.
That's such an important distinction. Because I think many people still approach personal branding almost like content decoration instead of reputation building. And reputation behaves very differently than attention. Attention can happen quickly, but authority compounds over time. So I want to start with something foundational. What actually creates authority online today? And why do some people become trusted very quickly while others stay invisible even after years of posting?
That's a very deep question because authority online is psychological before it's technical. People often think authority comes from follower count, but that's only partially true. Real authority comes from perceived competence and consistency. And perception is built through repeated signals. For example, when someone consistently demonstrates clarity, insight, understanding, problem-solving ability, pattern recognition, people begin assigning expertise to them mentally. This is why some individuals with relatively small audiences generate massive trust and high-value clients, while others with huge audiences struggle to monetize meaningfully. Because attention and authority are not the same thing.
That distinction keeps coming up throughout all these conversations. And honestly, it changes how you think about content completely. Because if authority is built through repeated signals, then every piece of content becomes less about performing and more about reinforcing perception.
Exactly. And this is where consistency becomes misunderstood. Most people think consistency means frequency. But real consistency is consistency of positioning. Meaning, are people repeatedly exposed to the same expertise association? For example, if every time someone sees your content, they associate you with AI systems, business automation, strategic thinking, then over time, authority compounds naturally. But if your content constantly shifts between unrelated topics, your positioning weakens.
So authority is really built through repetition of identity.
Yes, repeated clarity creates recognition. And recognition eventually becomes trust.
This is where things get really interesting to me. Because AI changes the economics of attention completely. A few years ago, producing high-quality content consistently required huge effort. Writing, editing, design, scripting, research, production. Now one person can do all of that with AI assistance. But paradoxically, this makes authenticity and differentiation even more important. So how do you see AI changing personal branding strategically? Not just tactically, strategically.
The biggest shift is that AI removes production bottlenecks. And when production becomes easier, strategy becomes the differentiator. Before AI, effort itself created a barrier. Now almost anyone can produce content at scale. which means the competitive advantage shifts toward perspective, positioning, communication, insight, systems thinking. And this is why generic AI content performs poorly long-term. Because people don't connect emotionally with information alone. They connect with interpretation.
That's such an important point. Because information is becoming abundant, but perspective remains scarce.
Exactly. And AI is incredibly powerful when used to amplify perspective rather than replace it. Most people use ChatGPT for simple outputs. But advanced creators use it as a strategic thinking partner. For example, refining positioning, generating content frameworks, audience psychology analysis, messaging optimization, storytelling structures. And one of the most powerful use cases is training it on your existing voice and philosophy. Because then the outputs become far more aligned with your brand identity. Claude AI is incredibly strong for long-form refinement and nuanced communication. Especially for deeper writing, podcast outlines, educational frameworks, tone consistency. Its responses often feel more natural and conversational. Perplexity AI is perfect for authority-building content because it accelerates research dramatically. You can quickly gather industry trends, statistics, market shifts, emerging conversations, which allows your content to stay intelligent and current. Canva AI is huge for visual consistency. And visual consistency matters psychologically because repetition builds familiarity. You can create branded templates, thumbnails, carousels, visual educational content at scale.
I think this is probably one of the biggest misunderstandings online right now. People assume visibility automatically creates trust. But when you really observe online behavior, that's clearly not true. Some creators go viral constantly yet struggle to build meaningful businesses, while others have smaller audiences but extremely loyal communities. So what actually creates trust online?
Trust is created through alignment between messaging and perceived authenticity. And one of the biggest mistakes creators make is trying to optimize for virality before trust. Virality often rewards novelty, trust rewards consistency, and those are very different dynamics psychologically.
That's interesting because virality can create awareness rapidly, but trust compounds more slowly.
Exactly. And long-term businesses are usually built on trust, not spikes of attention.
One thing I think overwhelms people is maintaining consistency over long periods of time. Because personal branding is not a one-month project. It's years of repeated communication. So how do AI systems help sustain that without creators burning out?
This is where systems become critical. The goal is not creating content endlessly. The goal is creating repeatable frameworks. AI content system tools. 1. Notion AI, content planning, idea databases, workflow systems. 2. Airtable, advanced content organization and performance tracking. 3. Opus Clip, turning long-form into multiple short-form assets automatically. 4. Descript, editing podcasts and video content efficiently. 5. Runway ML, AI-powered visuals, editing, cinematic enhancement.
Where do you think this is all going over the next few years? Because honestly, it feels like we're still early.
Very early. And I think the biggest shift will be this. People won't compete primarily on information anymore. They'll compete on trust, perspective, systems, emotional connection, interpretation. Because AI can generate information infinitely. But people still connect with humans.
So ironically, AI may make human identity even more valuable.
Exactly. The future belongs to people who use AI to amplify humanity, not replace it.
I think that's probably the biggest takeaway from this entire conversation. AI changes scale, but trust still remains deeply human.
And the creators who understand that balance early will have enormous advantages. Because tools can accelerate production. But genuine authority is still built through consistency, clarity, and trust over time.
And maybe that's the real opportunity here. Not becoming more artificial, but becoming more recognizable, more intentional, and more valuable through systems that amplify who you already are.
Exactly. Because the strongest personal brands in the future probably won't be the loudest ones. They'll be the clearest ones.
We'll see you in the next episode.